All right, there we go. What a lovely day for a stream. Coming into episode 17 already, my gosh. Absolutely crazy. I'm just gonna let a few more people show up before we start. You'll have a hot cocoa. Well, you know, it'll be about 5 minutes, but we'll get one for you, sir. Thank you to Music Freak 1985 for your subscription. Excuse me, follow. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry about that, folks. I had the strangest dream last night about being in a video game. I can only wonder what that means. Very memorable, though, honestly. Very memorable. Well, Frankie, you're a little early for our stream to actually be up and ready, but we always do 5 minutes of chatting before we begin. 5 minutes of just a bit of chatting. Just a little bit. Let's turn that down a little bit. There we go. Well, howdy, Jitty. Very glad to have you. I am going to turn my little coffee shop ambience down because it's quite loud on my end. There we go. That's better. Hello there, Ella. Glad to see you in the stream. Just another minute here, folks, and then we'll get going. What a crazy day it's been, honestly. A crazy, crazy day. Oh, nothing bad, don't worry. Alright, folks. It is 7:33. February the 13th of 2021, and we are starting Cast Talks, episode 17. Can you believe it? 17 episodes. My gosh, we've come so far. Our first episode was on October the 31st, on Halloween, and we are already to Valentine's Day. To all of you folks out there celebrating Valentine's Day early, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's 2075, who knows what time it is. But if you're celebrating Valentine's Day, you're welcome here. And for other reasons as well. But for that reason specifically tonight. And so, we're going to be answering some Valentine's Day questions. That'll be a little later. Before then, we're going to look at some good news. And then we're going to take a few moments for ourselves for some looking back on Valentine's Days past. Particularly me, but I've got a few old stories to share. So I welcome you all to a couple hours of relaxation. A couple hours with me, old Cass. I'm not that old, but you know. I like to say it every now and again. Because I do feel quite old sometimes, I do feel quite old every now and again. Old in spirit. Young in body, at least. But, hey, it's been 17 streams. I know. It is crazy. Imagining that we've been doing this for, I don't know how many months now. October, and then December, January, February. We're doing this for over 3 months. Over 3 months. Oh, actually, gonna be 3 months very soon. 3 months of streams. It's more than that somehow. It's more than that. But who knows? I'm not keeping count. I just know we're at 17. The rest of it's sort of over my head. But we are coming in to this episode with good spirits, good vibes. And I certainly feel good vibes right now. I hope the rest of you do too. But I am going to tell you some good things, some good news, because we can all use a little bit of good news in our lives. And so we'll begin here. Nigerian villagers score victory for humanity when a court verdict slams Shell Oil for liability after years of spills. Before we begin, I'd like to ask each of you how you're doing. Whether you're here now or in the future, you can answer in any way you'd like. But tonight specifically, tell me how you're doing. How is your day going? And after the story, I'll tell you a little bit about my day, and you might like what you hear. Just saying. 4 Nigerian farmers have won a 13-year legal battle against Shell Oil after a spill allegedly contaminated their lands. To be honest, it's not very alleged. It's pretty true, if you ask me. The David versus Goliath story went all the way from rural Niger Delta to the Hague Court of Appeal. You're all good, thank you. You went to an Asian market today and got some chocolates for your friend tomorrow. That is fantastic. I have never had Asian chocolates before, and that may be a bit offensive to say, but I don't mean it that way. And I am sure they taste fantastic. I hope that they appreciate it. Oh, also, today is the Lunar New Year. The week of the Ox is beginning the year of the Ox. You can't forget that either. We are having a ton of stuff going on. There's a Steam sale happening, which I won't partake in. But, I like to keep people aware. And you've got a few days left before it turns off. So, if you want to save some money, go ahead and take a look at that. But it might be a little late by the time you hear this, depending on when you listen. But I hope that you catch it before it ends. Now, resulting in the farmers being compensated, with further mandates for both safety and cleanup being pressed upon parent company Royal Dutch Shell. Well, but what I got was nothing crazy. I got Japanese snacks that she likes. Did you get Haichu? Because Haichu is pretty crazy. It tastes very strange to me. It's very, very fruity, but not fruity like you would expect. Oh, okay, you got Haichu. You know what's going on. You know what's going on. I hope that you and her, you and them. Oh, you and her. I was right. You and her do enjoy your time together, because this is a time of the year where it matters. It matters when you think about other people, when you take the time to show them your affections. This is the night to do it. This is the night. Well, tomorrow night is pretty good too, but if you can, tonight and tomorrow, do your best, because people always appreciate being thought of, being cared for, being treated like the royalty they are. It was Friday that the Netherlands ruled in favor of farmers from the Goi and Oruma communities, rejecting Shell Nigeria's claim that oil spills in the area were the result of sabotage. Nigerian law requires claims of sabotage to be proved with evidence beyond any reasonable doubt, something which the defenders could not do. Finally, there is some justice for the Nigerian people suffering the consequences of Shell's oil, said Eric Dole, one of the complainants, in a statement from Friends of Earth Netherlands a grassroots organization that took on the case as a major rallying call. And this seems like pretty good news to me, so I'm going to keep going. Finally, well, it is a long time victory that we have been dreaming of. It is not only a victory for me, it is a victory for the entire Niger Delta region. The Ogoni people, the civil society organizations. It is a victory for me and my family. It is a victory for humanity, he added. A decade had passed before the case began to make real headway after the Hague Court of Appeal ruled that it had jurisdiction over the case in 2015. Shell's headquarters are based in the Netherlands. This is fantastic for the environment and people in living conditions in developing countries, said Friends of Earth's Netherlands head, Donald Pols. It means people in developing countries can take on the multinationals who do them harm. Along with arbitrating a settlement, the court found that Shell Nigeria lacked any kind of leak detection system in the pipelines and wells in and around the Goi and Oruma communities, and that state-of-the-art systems must be installed or risk €100,000 per day, $121 per day fine. Furthermore, a local cleanup operation was found to be insufficient, and it was ruled that Shell must conduct a much more thorough cleaning of the oil from the waters and farmland. This wasn't the only case won by locals in developing countries over the last 12 months. A succession of legal victories for indigenous groups both in Panama and Brazil transferred approximately 250,000 hectares, more than 500,000 acres of rainforest from state ownership, under which illegal logging thrived, to tribal communities. That's where it should be. It should be in the hands of the people that live there. The land belongs to the people, after all, not the other way around. Well, maybe it's both ways. I don't know for sure, but either way, it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. And now we're going to go on to a favorite of mine, some cat videos. Cream Heroes. A particular favorite of mine. We've been looking at Cream Heroes for a little while now. I think the most recent one we saw some lovely video footage of cats being put through a bath. And I do like seeing cats taking baths when they're being well behaved. And these cats were very well behaved, let me tell you. Nothing better than well behaved animals. Especially when you get bumps from them, but I won't go too much into detail about that. As for our video, here it comes. When you get bumps from them, bumped on the leg or the face or the arm or the hand, or where they drill their nose into you. Many different kinds of things, bumps. You know what I mean. Getting bumped by an animal is a true privilege. A true privilege. We should all be so lucky to experience that. Headbutts, yes. Ginny definitely knows what I'm talking about. It's a good way to wake up, finding a nice fluffy cat under your sheets, giving you nice little glomps. If you like these videos, go subscribe to Cream Heroes right now. They're great. They have a selection of cat videos that is marvelous to enjoy. I will say this though. I never get tired of these particular cats. They're very, very kind and very gentle from what I can tell. They do play fight a bit, but I think all animals do that. Exactly. I'm envious of cats. I hope that if reincarnation is a thing in this world, that I reincarnate as one of the Cream Heroes cats. Or at least somebody who will give me the kind of affection that I'm looking for as an animal. Certainly that would be a heaven worth looking into. But I think we can all agree that cats hold a special place in all of our hearts. And cats eating bread, doubly so. I haven't had pancakes in so long. I'm gonna have some soon. I've decided. It might be Waffle House, it might be something else. I don't know how, but I'll get them. But you know, I've always thought that cats have a ludicrous amount of charisma. They always seem to be up to some kind of trouble if you let them roam around for too long. I also like bread, but I can't help it. Bread's quite nice. I've never seen a cat eat bread before, though. That's something they can do, right? They can eat bread. They must be able to. I've never seen it happen, though. I'll say that much. I do love to see it, though. Not a bad place to be. Playing with some cats. I hope that all of you have good memories of this stream as we go into the future of this. Because one of my favorite things is creating good memories. And I think this is one of the purposes of this stream is to create some fun memories with each other. Because, they do have a very nice house. They really do have a very nice house. I'm quite jealous, to be honest with you. I honestly am. Mostly because of the cats, though. Oh, you're right. It's like a bucket helmet for the cat. It's a cat bucket helmet. How silly. The fluffiness of a cat can never be understated. But in this lax environment of a Cast Talks, especially episode 17, think about some of your favorite foods. I know I always do when there's food on the screen. I've never been into French toast much, but I'd eat that. You know, the cats come calling around when they see the French toast. That's our cat video of the day, though. I hope you're enjoying so far watching it. Off we go, back to our coffee shop. Nice and comfy right here. But I will say, I do like me a good cat video. Alright. Almost finished with our first corner, and we are now getting into our Valentine's Day questions. So, if you want to answer these along with me, or you want to put a chat comment in, feel free to do either of those, because I'll read them. Honestly, I will. Alright, here we go. What would constitute a perfect day for you? A perfect day for Cass. I know, right? Dang, didn't take too long. We almost at the first half of the first hour. We are blazing through top-notch, high speed, all cylinders. This is the power of Cast Talks, as time seems to move at double speed. Nobody knows exactly why, but maybe it's better that we don't. The mystery is alluring, isn't it? A perfect day for me. I would go walking, holding the hand of the person I care most about. We would walk through a deciduous apple orchard. I think that the mixture of snow and being bundled up warm, seeing the small flakes falling between the trees, watching the sun glint and glimmer off the different colored leaves, feeling the warmth in somebody else's hand over mine, seeing that freshly covered snow leave our footprints behind us, and we'd each walk up to a tree with green apples. We'd each take one, and as we look at each other, enjoying the time we have, so much time left, we'd smile and both take a bite of our apples. And that taste would just keep coming. It's a sweetness that I'm thinking about. A sweetness that you can only get at 9 o'clock in the morning when the sun rises. It's an orange and yellow sweetness that comes from green apples from deciduous trees, when the person you love is staring at you and you're staring back. A picnic day in a not-so-busy park. Then, when it starts to get dark, go back home and spend the rest of the night with one another playing games and just cutesy activities. I can't think of a better night than that myself. I think that's where we're gonna keep it. Just thinking about the morning. An energy from the morning that lasts the whole day. Good food, good company. It's a crystallized essence of a good time. And you just keep taking that crystal and holding it, and the warmth that spreads through you is a warmth that reaches your soul. It doesn't get much better than that. Next question. Number 2. Have you ever moved to a different place? If so, what was it like to move, and what things did you experience moving to different locations? I moved from my home in Southern California to my current home in Oklahoma. The move was not very good for me. I lost all my friends and my cat. It's very sad. And I was not welcomed by anybody, really. And I felt unwelcomed for about 8 years, maybe 9, maybe even 10. And that unwelcomeness has stayed with me And I haven't enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed California, but I was a child then. So, one can't truly say if it was the child in me that I left behind, or if it was the adult that I became that recognizes the child and wishes they could be there again. No one can say for sure. But I do wonder. I do wonder. That'll be it for question number 2. Question number 3. Would you like to be famous? If so, in what way? I would only like the amount of fame necessary for me to reach a wide number of people and help the relaxation be developed in a large number of people. To have a wide audience of kind-hearted and good-natured, well-spirited, and thoughtful people. And to help each of them live better lives and be happier, feel better, maybe even live longer. They say the happiest people live the longest, don't they? I can't say if it's true because I'm not quite that old to tell you, but I can only hope it's true. And my true goal is to help bring people out of the depression that I found myself in not even 15 years ago. That is my goal. In what way? I would like to be known as a healer and an instrument for good. I would like to be venerable and veteran in such a way that people are able to help me live a comfortable life, but not any more than I could ever need. Just enough that I can keep giving good content and keep making cast talks. That's what I want. Nothing more, nothing less. And that'll be it for question number 3. Question number 4. Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? If so, why? I definitely do this. Whenever I am thinking about making a telephone call, I consider what I want to ask them, what my objective is, and if there is time to get questions from them. You don't want to sound like a dum-dum. Yeah, I'm not a dum-dum. And I don't think anyone listening to this stream is a dum-dum. That's just my presumption, but I think it's a fair one. I want to sound as thoughtful and helpful and as cooperative as possible. I don't want to be a bad caller. In my previous job, which I won't go into too much, I received many bad callers, and it was the bane of me and my colleagues. Getting a bad caller was an experience every time, and when you get one, you can only fathom what kind of mindset they're in to be calling you and giving you the business. But people have wishes, and sometimes their wish is to be cruel, and they don't even know it. But what I can say is benevolence and graciousness that can see you through a lot of hardship. But definitely, I rehearse what I'm going to say to some degree. Question number 5. Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Whom would I want as a dinner guest? Honestly, the only person I can think of right now is Ginny Breen, one of the people in this chat, actually. Aries. I figured you'd say that, but it's very sweet. I hope that he watches this someday and sees that. I would love to have dinner with Ginny. Of course, Ginny. I I'm not really one for romanticism regarding like celebrities or anything like that. I don't want to know any celebrities really. I want them to choose to have an interest in me, and if they do, then I'll try my best to reflect and show my interest as well. But Jenny is my very dear friend. I've known her for I don't know how long. It's been quite some time, Jenny, and I would like nothing more than to cook her a lovely dinner. Something soft that she could eat, because I know she's got some difficulty eating sometimes. So I would make her something that she could not have to worry about chewing at all. Something lovely. Ooh, mashed apple pie might be really good for you, actually. If you've ever had a mashed pie, they're very good. It's almost like a crumble cake. I think you'd love it. If you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? Well, I don't like this question, to be honest with you. But if I have to answer it as question number 6, I would say that I would rather retain my mind. If I had to lose one of them, I would rather be a stable mind, a sound mind, in a possibly withering body, which I suppose is the case for most people, is that their body withers and their mind strengthens, depending on the person, I suppose. But I think a mind that is adamant is far superior to a body that is adamant. Because I may live to see a day when bodies don't even mean anything anymore, you know? A day where changing your body is as easy as changing your clothes. And if I do live to see that day, I would rather have a strong mind. And if I even make it to 90, I'll be pretty happy. I guess it's a goal of mine to get as old as I can. Many people wish to only live out their youth, but I'm not one of those people. I'm prepared to take whatever I get and to keep going as long as I can. Question number 7. When did you last sing to yourself, to someone else? The last time I sang to myself was when I was singing I've Been a Fool, which is the karaoke of a, I believe, Japanese song, Bakamitai, featured in Yakuza 0. I think it's a very, very pretty song, though I'm not certain how well I would do singing it in the American version, or the English version, excuse me. I'm not certain how proficient my karaoke is, but I would give it a try someday, maybe even on stream. Who knows? Oh my gosh, karaoke on stream. I know, right? I think it's a possibility, maybe one day. Cast Talks karaoke. Who could even say when that could happen? Someday, though. Maybe someday. For somebody else, I last sang karaoke. I sang the Japanese Bakamitai at a karaoke place. You could say lol. I could say that, but I think I know what you mean. I could give it a try at some point. I don't know when. I'd like that energy involving singing a song, but I would prefer to be quite good at it before I put myself on the internet doing it. Here is question number 7. Oh, number 8, excuse me. Name 3 things that the 4 of you appear to have in common. The 4? I don't know. That's a question for multiple people. We're not doing that one. 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful? Yeah, let's see. I would say that I feel very grateful for having a working mind and having a good heart. Because many people have neither of those. I think it's very important to acknowledge when you have the faculties of success or have the ability to succeed. There goes my mind. To succeed when you can. And succeeding on a personal level, being a good person, wonderful friends. That's true too. Wonderful friends is also a good one. I think that gratitude in general is very powerful and very helpful in a person's life. And I hope that you can all be grateful for the person who you love most. I know I try my best to be grateful, though I have to remind myself often. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, question number 10, by the way, what would it be? I'm sitting here trying to narrow it down to one thing, and I can't. I know how you feel, Jenny. I really do. I think it's really important to try and find that one thing, but there's so many to choose from sometimes. And I know that I'm grateful for my friends as well, just like Ella said. And I am grateful to have this stream and to be talking to so many people. I'm grateful for that too. I'm grateful for the energy and the vibes that I'm able to nurture and cultivate. That'll be it for question number 9, though. Number 10. I would say that what I just said answers both those questions. It does, doesn't it? That is a good way of putting it. Thank you. I only just got what you meant. Number 10. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? I don't think I like this question, but I will try to answer it. I was raised by parents who didn't know what they were doing in a fairly serious way, but I know that they meant well, and I have turned out well, but I don't know if that's completely their doing. I think I wish I was neglected less, I would have to say. Maybe taken more seriously as well. I am quite a serious person to begin with, and I guess being a child makes you not taken as seriously. But I will learn from that lesson, learn from their failures, and if I have a child, I will do better. I will break the chain of neglect. That's it for 10. Number 11. Take 4 minutes and tell your partner and other couples in your life story in as much detail as possible. I mean, I'll save that for another day. If you could wake up tomorrow, this is number 12, having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? I think this is a very wish-fulfilling question. And that makes me like it less, but I will try to answer it. If I could wake up tomorrow, I would like to wake up in perfect physical health. That way I could be more active and be more longevitous in my activities. That's what I would wish for. Because I feel pretty good in my mind. I feel pretty good. My major problem, more self-confidence. That's a good one too. That's a very good one. I would also wish for... No, I don't want to be cured of depression. That's not fair to say, because I would like to get there myself. Yeah, I don't want that yet. I mean, I guess if I could just get rid of it, then maybe it'd be nice, but I'd like to get there myself if I can. I'm not sure I have a good answer for this, but that is my answer for 12. Be in absolute perfect physical health. Maybe to understand yourself more. That's a good one too. Here is set number 2, but really, I'm just going to say 13. Question number 13. If a crystal ball could tell you the truth about yourself, your future, your life, or anything else, what would you want to know? Once again, I don't like this question. I don't want to know the future. If I could learn something about my life, I know I don't like this one either. Maybe we should skip it. Let's skip it. Question number 14. Is there something you've dreamed of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it? I don't like this question either, but I will try to answer it. Something I have dreamed of doing for a long time is recovering from depression. To be in remission. I have wanted for so long to feel the sun on my face again, in the most figurative way I can imagine. And why I haven't done that yet, I believe, is from the thresholds of nature and mind and pathos and catharsis. They take time to be passed and to be reached and acquired. It takes a long time to recover from something. What emote is that? TB Angel. Oh, TB Angel. That's lovely. Teddy Bear Angel, I get it. I would like to know, or like to say simply that these things take time. And not having done it yet doesn't mean you never will. And recovering from depression, no matter the length, or it looks like a cat to me too, actually, or the severity, takes a long, long time. Number 15. I see the puppy too, actually. What is the greatest accomplishment of your life? I think I feel most accomplished when I consider that for a very long time I was an antisocial and particularly difficult person to deal with. I feel most accomplished in thinking how far I've come from being such an unpleasant and unlikable character, and how much joy and how much happiness and relaxation and calmness I have instilled in myself and others. I feel accomplished at the fact that I can help so many people every day. I don't even have a sub-train to start on my end, so I don't know if I can relate, but sub-trains are really important to some people, and I don't know if we'll do anything quite like that, but it's certainly interesting. Might be nice. A sub-train, Jenny, is when one person subs and starts a chain reaction, in which if somebody else subs within a certain amount of time, it pushes the train clock, back up to like 5 minutes or whatever it is. And there are certain benefits and rewards for reaching certain tiers. Subscriptions, you pay like $5 a month to be subscribed to a channel, which is, you get certain rewards for making the sub train reach a certain length, a certain number. It's interesting stuff, but it doesn't interest me that much, to be honest with you. This is question number 16. Have you experienced a culture other than your own? What was the most interesting part of this experience? Yeah, as a California boy, moving to Oklahoma, it really did change my perspective on masculinity. Because in Oklahoma, the thread and narrative of gender roles weaves thick and serpentine through my life. I have found that people here base their masculinity on things like heritage, things like toughness, things like strength as well, ability, and ability by this I mean contests of who has conquered the most challenges, most cases women, some cases physical deeds. I think that masculinity is a strange beast because I don't necessarily crave it for the most part. Sure, as somebody who has male parts and is a physically male person, I think that having muscles would be really nice. I think that feeling like I have some power would be nice, and feeling like I have the ability to affect the world positively, lifting things, carrying things, reaching things for people. That's something I would enjoy, but I don't want to show off or be macho. I just want to be helpful, and if it would be helpful to others for me to have muscles, then it would certainly suit me well. It certainly would. It certainly is an interesting part of this culture, though. But that'll be it for number 16. Number 17. What do you value most in a friendship? My friendships have often taught me that listening and being there is tantamount. You don't have to have good advice, because I don't always have good advice myself. And you don't have to say anything or do anything besides listen. Just sitting there, if it's quiet or if it's with a smile and a nod every now and again, that is far more important than saying the right thing at the right time or being smart or interesting. Because there's always time to learn something interesting about somebody, but there's sometimes never enough room to listen. Listening is crucial. It's crucial. Because you will never understand someone's point of view if you won't listen to them. And understanding other people's positions, standing in their shoes. That is truly how you make a friend. Question number 18. What is your most treasured memory? My most treasured memory has actually been made into a video on YouTube. It is the last real memory I have with my cat Slippers in California. In this memory, me and my cat are sitting together on my backyard porch. I remember the walls of my house were made out of some kind of plasticine thing. I can't quite describe it to you. It's very strange, very pointed texture. But I remember sitting there with my back uncomfy, my head against it, and just having slippers on my lap. She was just sitting there, bumping her head up against my stomach next to my belly button. And I still remember when she leaned up and put her back legs on my knees and pressed herself up against my stomach and chest. And I put my arms around her and held her close. And she did that low-pitched hum. Low pitch. And I could hear her heart beating up against me. And she was so at peace, so calm. And I remember how gentle and how full I felt. How full I felt just holding her there. Just knowing that this is where she wanted to be. And I was right where I wanted to be too. I think there are few things in this world more wholesome than a person's love for their pet, for their friend, their animal companion. And that is a memory that holds so dear to me. A memory of someone who made me feel so at peace, so content. And if I could, that is something I would change. If I could, I would wake up with her snuggling up against me, even if it was just for a day. Having her in my arms, finally saying goodbye. I don't know if I can ask for much more than that. That's question number 18. Oh, I've gotten a bit emotional. You have to forgive me if I sound teary-eyed. I am teary-eyed. All right. Question number 19. What is your most terrible memory? I won't go into this for the sake of the stream, so we will skip this one, but I hope you are able to answer it at your own discretion. Now, as for... Oh, I'm sorry, the background audio has been so low, you've barely been able to hear it. The question was, what is your most terrible memory? I understand. I really do. But we won't be answering that one on this show. All right. Question number 20. What does friendship mean to you? Look at that, we're almost up to the end of our first hour. Friendship means... Didn't we already answer this? I guess we kind of answered it. Friendship means sharing your love with somebody Yeah, it's a hard one to answer, Jenny. You're right. But I will say it means to me sharing your love and kindness and time and passion and self with somebody. Your whole self, who you are, regardless of good and bad. Being open and being ingratiatory and willing to let somebody into your life, even if you're vulnerable or weak and it hurts. That is what love means for a friend. Is accepting, compromising, learning, and being more whole by having someone to be whole with. But that's what I think. Maybe you think differently. That's question number 20. Or, yes, number 20. Wait, no, 21, excuse me. Question number 22. Oh, wait. 22, yeah. No, that was number 20. Oh my gosh. Number 21. What roles do love and affection play in your life? For me, love is something that ideally I would give to somebody I find worthy of my time and effort. Affection is the way I would show them that love. And anybody can be showed that. It could be your barista here at the coffee place at the cafe. It could be the person you've known for over a decade. It could be your brother or sister or your mom or dad. You can love anybody, and you can show affection to anybody at any moment. And that is what it means to have that in your life, is to give it free of charge, no strings attached, only because you want to. Now, that might be the last of our questions for now. But what I will do, for me, love has always been something I've given away and been taken advantage of. But I know that no matter how badly I get hurt, I can't help but love. Ella, I understand how you feel. I hope that I have never taken advantage of your love in our time as friends. I feel like I don't think I have, but tell me in IMs if I ever have. And if I have, then I'm sorry. Because you've always been a good friend to me. I hope that I've been a good friend to you as well. Psh, nah, I'm glad to hear it. But you can tell me more after we get back from our break. Customary for our cast talks. At 1 hour in, sometimes 55 minutes in, we take a 5-minute break so everybody can go to the bathroom, refresh their drinks, and have a small pause to stretch so I can rest my voice as well. Either way, come on back in 5 minutes. We'll see each other again soon. Okay, Jenny, thanks so much for coming around. It's been a pleasure having you. I'm glad you could make it. Have a good night. See you folks in 5 minutes. And here we are, back at it again. I hope you had a lovely break. Thank you, Ella, and welcome back to you too. Assuming you left, which, if you didn't, I understand. The intoxicating sounds of soft jazz. I understand why you'd want to stay. And so, we continue on with some more good news. The first farmer in the U.S. to sequester carbon for cash earns $115,000 for his new planting strategies. Scientists, farmers, the USDA, and governments are rallying around the idea that we'll see tons of carbon pulled from the atmosphere and put back into the ground. Regenerative farming practices aren't new, but it's new that the President of the United States should be talking about them. A large study from the Nature Conservancy, one of the oldest environmental groups in the U.S., has shown that a particular kind of no-till farming, involving the planting of cover crops and nutrient-dense food like root vegetables, during the off-season, could perhaps sequester as much as 10% of the world's carbon footprint. In a speech Biden gave, in which he announced his Secretary of Agriculture as Tom Vilsack, the president mentioned his policies will make American agriculture the first in the world to achieve zero net emissions. Fantastic. To do this, Biden and Vilsack plan to create new sources of income for farmers in the process by paying farmers to put their land in conservation, plant cover crops that use the soil to capture carbon. One such farmer in Maryland is Marylander Trey Hill, featured in a Washington Post article introducing him as the first seller in a new private market of carbon credits based around this kind of farming. The market already earned him $115,000, with buyers backing him, paying him for having returned 8,000 tons of CO2 back into the ground. The image in A Tale of Tilling of the ancient farmer with his till breaking apart the ground to make way for seed is an iconic and even romantic land use image. However, according to Washington Post, the act of disturbing the soil or breaking apart roots and exposing vulnerable microbes to the sun has throughout human history sent up 133 billion tons of carbon into the atmosphere. As Good News Network reported last year, regenerative agriculture, either through fancy jargon like adaptive multi-paddock grazing, or agroforestry, or permaculture, totals 1/5 of all farming activities in the United States. Principal among the regenerative farming practices is the lack of tilling, as it only sends carbon into the atmosphere to become carbon dioxide. But it exposes soil microbes and fungus to harmful UV light, reducing soil biodiversity. Instead, as it relates to mono cash crop agriculture. The vast majority of farming in the US, it involves using root crops to loosen and aerate the soil, and cover crops to shade it from the sun, introducing more microbial diversity and sequestering more carbon in the plant roots. Estimating that soil sequestration could account for 25% of the total climate mitigation strategies, Masio and the team at Nature Conservancy detail in Nature that 47% of this strategy will involve agriculture. Trey Hill uses clover lentils and rye as cover crops, and radishes and turnips for root crops, as sequestration and regeneration agents in his cornfield. Recently, Hill's farm of 10,000 acres sold its carbon credits for $16.50 per ton through a Seattle-based startup called Nori, which allows companies and individuals to buy carbon credits to offset their own carbon emissions. Who paid Hill for putting the carbon back into the soil? The e-commerce platform Shopify, Arizona State University, and several individuals. While Hill notes that the many farmers are still on the sidelines due to the extra cost of special equipment and such, a market is forming of companies who want to work with farmers to sequester carbon for cash. For example, while Nori has only a few farmers signed up to sell through them, an ag tech company in Boston called Indigo Ag, whose clients include Dogfish Head Breweries and JP Morgan Chase, sells carbon offsets on 1 million acres across 21 states. Biden wants to ensure that large farms have the opportunity to expand their income and protect the climate in this way, which may boost American yields of root and cover vegetables, increasing food output as well. Absolutely lovely. It seems like the world is changing pretty rapidly. For the better in a lot of ways. I'm happy to see it. I'm sure many of you are as well. I guess we're doing a couple more Valentine's Day questions, aren't we? Going into the third quarter. What question were we on? We were on 22. We were on 22. Question number 22. Alternate sharing something to consider a positive characteristic of other participants. No, never mind. I'm not doing that one. That one's not good. That one's for other people. Number 23. That one's not good either. Number 24. Oh, this is a loaded question right here. How do you feel about your relationship with your mother? Well, I hope that you will join me in giving it some thought before anyone answers anything, especially in this circumstance. But I will say my parents both tried. Your relationship with your mother. Oh, you mean what relationship? I don't know. It just says what relationship with your mother. I don't know what it means really. I think it means in general. which is why I said it's a fairly loaded question. I'm glad your relations are fine. That's lovely. I think my relationship now is fine as well. I think that there's always room for improvement, but this question seems to be expecting some kind of extreme answer, which I am not willing to give. I'll say things are fine with mine as well. This is our last set of questions. Question number 25. How close and warm is your family? Do you feel your childhood was happier than most other people's? I know mine wasn't. I know I spent a childhood, I guess that would be before age 10. I think my childhood was pretty aloof from my family, you know? I think that I had a reasonable relationship with everybody, but our family wasn't particularly close and warm. I feel like I had a good time with my friends and my cat, and that's where most of my love was put into, is my friends and my cat. And I think I'm fine with that. That's how I prefer it, actually. Question number 26. If you were going to become close friends with the other couple... Oh, stupid. More couples questions. Okay, other couple. Gosh, these are all about other people. Okay. Question number... I know. Let's go back a few questions then. Say a few numbers, excuse me. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, this is 26. Share with the others in this group an embarrassing moment in your life. I have many to choose from. Let's try to find one, though. I think an embarrassing moment for me in my life was the moment that I realized. The moment I realized that you can't just tell jokes and expect everyone to laugh at all of them. That moment came in the facet of me telling a particularly unfunny joke to a particularly vulnerable person and seeing their face turn from expecting a funny joke to looking extremely confused and upset and then being angry. There's nothing quite like seeing that change of expression on a listener's face, to know that you have just blundered, not only blundered, but catastrophically blundered. And that catastrophic blunder, which I will not go into detail about for my sake and for yours as well, has impacted my life in ways that I don't expect sometimes. It has certainly taught me to be very careful about the words I choose to use with other people. Certainly a quality that I wish to encourage in others as well. Question number 27. Talk about a time you had to leave home for a significant amount of time. Was it difficult? What made it so? When I was in marching band during high school, I had to leave home to go on a tour of Indianapolis. The farthest away from home I'd ever been. Oklahoma and Indianapolis are quite a distance apart. And I was far from home, far from my warm bed, as the song goes. And every mile that I traveled from my bed, felt like another tug on my heartstrings. Because I did miss being in my room, being secluded and safe, and being away from the problems and worries that being out in a marching band provided me. It was such a hard time for me then. And there are so many problems I faced, so many issues I faced with. I think that my ability to cope with those problems was it was questionable whether I succeeded. I think I succeeded in surviving, but I didn't have much fun. I guess that's the least I can say. And I think maybe I should have stayed home, is the short version. Question number 28. I'm not going to do this one. This is not really a healthy one. Question number 28. When did you last cry in front of another person or by yourself? I last cried in front of another person, I think last year. Wait, it might have been sooner than that. No, it was sooner than that. This is when a friend of mine passed. I was crying quite seriously with my mother and sister, which was last month. No, yeah, last month. And by myself, when did I last cry? I last cried by myself, I think last week. I was dealing with some serious problems of grief, and it might have been the week before. Oh, you stubbed your toe. Oh, God, it's so bad. How bad was it? Was it like a really bad stub? Because those can get you. Those can really get you. Bad with 4 Ds. That sounds terrible. I've gotten to 2 Ds maybe. Tear-jerking toe stub. Ugh. I'm very sorry. It sounds like a traumatic experience for your body and your mind as well. I cry by myself all the time though. I find that I almost cried talking about my cat just earlier. I am very easily sent to tears. Some people refer to that as being a crybaby, but whatever. I am quite proud of my ability to be vulnerable. I think anyone who does as well should also be proud of themselves. Our society doesn't very much welcome the idea of crying. The social stigma alone of crying is a point of difficulty for so many people, but especially men, I found. Especially men and masculine forming people. But certainly I don't mind. I think that in the past I was very afraid of it because I thought it meant I was some kind of weakling. But you don't have to be strong physically to have a strong character and a strong personality. In fact, I'm quite frail and quite fragile, despite how I might sound. I'm not a tough guy. I am very vulnerable and very open to taking wounds at any moment. But yet I continue on and I keep trying. I keep living. Because a part of me is accepting of wounds, because I understand that I am just a part-time being, sometimes just for the sake of emotional and releasing stress, being emotional and releasing stress, definitely. That is a appropriate time to cry. And I I used to cry a lot about my cat. I used to cry so much. But let me tell you, Ella, there are things worth crying over. And you know that. I'm sure most people know that. And your childhood and the grief of losing your childhood or not being a child anymore, that is something worth crying over. For however long it takes you. No doubt. No doubt at all. And certainly, it would be difficult for anyone to say that they haven't had moments like that. We're getting close to the end of this. We're almost there. Question number 28. If you could go back in your life and change any one experience, what would it be and why? Let's say I had to change one experience, and if I could figure out what it, just to see what would happen, right? Just to go back and see. I would run away from home at the age of 10. I think it's an interesting idea, but I would run away and just imagine the first week of school I get my, being bullied or whatever happened to me, That's not neither here nor there, but what if I just ran away? What if I just left and went to live somewhere else? Or left the state and changed my name? The question was, if you could go back in your life and change any one experience, what would it be and why? I wouldn't change this, but I do wonder what my life would have been like if I never started second life, I think about that sometimes too, actually. But I'm rather grateful for its effect on my life. In general, I think about if I had never played video games, though, if I had never cared about the computer. Or I think about what if I had fought to stay in California more seriously. That's what I think about too. That's something I wonder about. That's what I would try and see what would be different. I'd like that. One day, though, there will be a holodeck for all of this, and we'll see the differences. We'll see it all. Something to look forward to, for sure. Question number 29. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about? I don't know. I'm not really the best to answer this kind of question. I joke about a lot of things, but I put seriousness and laughter hand in hand. I think I wouldn't joke about death with a friend, death in your life, death of a loved one. I don't think that's funny. Death of an animal. I think those things aren't very funny, but maybe someone would laugh at them. I don't know. This is a dumb question, though. Let's move on. No, this one's not good either. Not this one either. Okay, let's try this one. This is our last question. Question number 30, or 33, 32. There we go. No, wait. Question number 30. Anything that someone finds offensive is something to keep in mind, even if it is something innocent to you. I agree, Ella. That's a good way of looking at it. I agree with that. Question number 32. Number 30. Excuse me, my gosh. 30. Share a personal problem and ask the other participants, which we won't do, advice on how they might handle it. That's not important. Ask the other participants to reflect back on how you seem to be feeling about the problem you've chosen. Oh, gosh, no, this one sucks too. This is for like groups full of people, which I don't care about. let's do our own question. What is your favorite Valentine's Day memory? I know mine, and I'll share it with you now, as we only have about a half hour left in our stream. My favorite Valentine's Day memory is when I was but a wee little boy, about the age of 7, maybe 8. It was in not Mrs. Franz's class, what was that? Mrs. Something's class. So, I was sitting in class, and I remember that a young woman from a different class, a very young woman from a different class, approached me, and the teacher was right behind her from that class, a garish woman with crazy hair and a mean attitude. She had been recruited by the youngster into coming over to my classroom and speaking with me. I knew who it was, though. It was a young woman whose name I will not repeat, but I will call her Abigail. Abigail was very nerd-looking, very, I guess you could say, bratty-looking as well. She had all the makings of somebody who was not very attractive in my eyes as a playmate or as a love interest, and I suppose I worried at that time that she had cooties as well, because I heard there was a recent epidemic of cooties in our neighborhood, in our classroom, in our school. So I was curious to see what she wanted of me. She approached, and she, in her hand, held out a card in the shape of a heart. Sitting at my desk with the other hearts that had been placed there, not from people, but simply cut out from red paper, pink paper, I don't remember which, one of those though. She handed it to me, and I held it in my hand. She could scarcely even look into my eyes as she did so. I didn't look into hers either, so I know that it was a strange, maybe awkward conversation starter for somebody else. It was certainly awkward to me, though, because I found it difficult to take the compliment of somebody handing me a Valentine's Day card. But I opened it after they had left, actually. I remember that now. They had left already because she was too nervous to see me open it. So I opened it. It said, my real name. It said, I love you. Will you be my Valentine? I felt so many emotions at this. I felt horrible disgust, horrible retching disgust. And I remember feeling offended that someone would send me a card, somebody that I thought was so gross and icky. I know, I was such a heartbreaker. I know, Ella. I just didn't think she was that great. But you know what I did? I did the reasonable thing, but not the right thing. I went and found her, and I gave her card back. And I said, what did I say exactly? I don't remember the exact wording. Something to the effect of, we can hang out if you'd like to. Something like that. Not quite exactly that, though. And I meant it, right? I meant that I could hang out with her if she wanted, but I also felt like I didn't want to do her any favors. And so I remember that after this moment, she would come on by during recess and try to hold my hand. And every day that she did this, I felt more and more grossed out, having her sweaty palms on mine. I was once again offended and bored, so bored with her, so annoyed and bored. She kept making eyes at me. She was having a great time. Maybe she didn't notice that I wasn't. I don't remember that part very well. I remember, though, feeling like there was no way this was going to continue over like a week. I didn't think I could do it for another day every time. And I remember being so strained. Strained is the right word for it. I was just absolutely, and maybe even unapologetically, unhappy with him. Maybe it's a funny way of saying what was to come as far as my ability to have relationships, but I know that I found it a horrific experience for me. And I don't know if a 7-year-old can break up with another 7-year-old. I guess so. That's a strange concept to me, but I broke up with her. I said, I don't want to hang out with you anymore, and that was it. I left her in the schoolyard. Oh, gosh, it was such a heartbreaker. It was such a immature way of doing it, too. I didn't say, hey, I'm not enjoying this. I just got mad. Gosh. And that's my favorite memory because it's very like loud and very huge in my young childhood, having my first real relationship ever. It's very strange. It's cute and sad. Thank you so much. That's a very good compliment, I think. There are many things in my life that fit that description, which I do not say with any anger or resentment towards anybody. But yes, there are many things in my life that are both cute and sad. That's okay, though. It's just how it goes sometimes. And I hope that you folks have learned a little bit more about me. Those are all of our Valentine's Day questions. All of them. We didn't answer 6 of them, though. 6 of these questions sucked, so we didn't answer them. I hope you will join me in some last quarter basking in the excellence of episode 17. You know what? I will share with you a few things I will buy in the future. In the future, I will buy for myself nice, fancy clothes that I can wear and I can enjoy. I will buy a better microphone, a better stereo microphone. I will buy heated sleeping bags, electric sleeping bags, new sheets, a new mattress, a new chair, and eventually pay off my debt to my father for letting me stay in my home with barely any rent. A new computer with a cooler case that is completely quiet. That is also something I wish to buy. These are things I would spend money on if I had it. And one day I hope that I will have money from my business here with Cassie's Mishima. As a brand, that is. And with every single follow, we grow one step closer to having those things appear in my life. But this is in no way me suggesting that you should work or do anything for my benefit. Do what you can. I'll accept even thinking about me. And if this takes a long time to happen, as far as these benefits go, I've got all the time in the world. I'll just keep pumping out Cast Talks every week. as long as I have access to my computer and a microphone, and some internet connection as well. And I just want to see how far we can get. You know, how far can you go? I think pretty far. Honestly, pretty far. Those are my interests, though. Clothes and microphones and sleeping bags. You know, I think that everybody has some interest in monetary things. You know, everybody wants some comfort in their life, and I think comfort for me is having a nice bed to return to, feeling warm and surrounded in pleasant sensations like touch. Having good food as well, but food is sort of a necessity only, that I need to have calories, less that I want to have food. I'll talk about that some other time, though. Cast Talk 17. 17's a pretty big number. Pretty soon we're gonna have more cast talks than my age, which I won't share my age just yet. But I will say that we'll probably reach 26 before I reach 26. No, we won't. We won't reach that. I'll be 26 before we reach 26. And hopefully, before we know it, we'll be to 50. And before we know it, we're going to be to 25. Before we know it. What a fantastic milestone. I can only imagine what good things will come from that. And you know, the money of a situation, right? The money from my voice acting, I mean, that's fine. That's great. It'll help me and I'll appreciate it, but I'm not doing this because I want to be rich and famous. I think I've said this before, but I just want to help as many people as possible. And if I become more famous, and if I become more wealthy along the way, it's more money to donate to charity, and more money to buy gifts for my friends with, and more money to help others with. But for me, for my interests, I don't really care if I have an expensive car or a good house. I would be fine with just a average sized house in a small mountain town. Someplace quiet. Someplace where it's sunny often and it snows every now and again. Someplace where I can have a nice house. A nice house would be enough. Someplace with an indoor jacuzzi is really my dream. Someplace with a domed or top roof, or a roof that opens where the moonlight can shine in. Oh, that'd be perfect. That'd be so perfect. That'd be such a perfect place to heal. I've made a ASMR story about this, but Wouldn't it be so delightful just to have that place, that special place where everything you could want is already there, and you can just let go, listen to the music, and feel the moonlight radiating on you, the beams of the reflected sun. Such a sweet little thing. Having that time infinity stretched out over what feels like an hour. Feeling every moment. Just being present. I think that's a dream I have as well. To make that moon pool someday. And maybe even have a stream for my moon pool. A cast talks in a jacuzzi. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? And maybe I could have some friends over. One of these days, Cast Talks will be more of a podcast than a jacuzzi talks. You are thinking on the same wavelength as I am, LA. You really are. Jacuzzi talks. Man, what a crazy idea. Can only imagine streaming at midnight when the moon is overhead. Nothing but the moonlight and soft jazz. What a dream. What a lovely dream. We'll get there someday. I hope that you'll join me along the journey, Ella. And I'd love to have you as long as you'll have me. Yeah. This is a good Cast Talks, though. I'm happy with this one. We started off really strong, and I think that energy is carried with us through this whole thing. And afterwards, I am going to just watch some Who's Lines anyway and relax. It's a good time. Really, it is. Who knows how Cast Talks will evolve as time goes on? Who knows? we're coming into the last 10 minutes of our stream. And I'd like to thank all of you that have been here with me. I'd like to thank Ginny Breen, my good friend, Kai Hope, who's got a few messages in here, especially Ella, Taddy Two Bears, as well as Frankie, who he's either gone or he's been quiet, which either one I'm happy with. Ella has been a huge supporter of this stream, and it would be not nearly as interesting a time here with all of you without her. So, I hope you'll thank her along with me. And also, I hope that you will consider looking at my other stuff. My Patreon will be linked at the end of the video, which it'll also be linked in the description for when this is on YouTube, as well as my Instagram and my Flickr and my Twitch and my YouTube. And if anyone is interested in learning more about me and my activities, you can find me on Second Life as Scorpio X. Well, one word. Happy to have messages, happy to learn about new people and new things. Though I can't type very fast, I hope that won't upset anybody. Either way, I really enjoyed this stream with you folks. It's been a great journey as always. It was great as usual. Thank you so much, Ella. You really have been a good influence on this stream. I hope that you know. I'm not gassing you up, don't worry. I'm just glad to have you. Always glad to have some returning faces. Aw, Ella, I hope so. I hope we can do all the way to episode 100, maybe even 1000. Who knows how long that will be in the future. 1000 will be like in 10 years or something. 10 years of Cast Talks. Could you imagine? Episode 420. What are we gonna? I might get high on episode 420. Just saying. I'm just saying. I might get high. Because you kind of have to at that point, right? You kind of have to. Cass smokes. That's awesome. No, I would never smoke. I'm more of an edibles kind of guy. But that's gonna be it for our episode today. Thank you so much, folks, for being here in the present, who are here right now and enjoying it. I know. I always hate to cut it short, but 2 hours is the maximum for me. Thank you all so much for being here. And if you're enjoying this in the future, glad you watched my video. Glad you're here. Oh, the edibles, yeah. Edibles are more my thing. I have to go really slow on them, though, because of my medications. But yeah, we are done with episode 17. We are outie. We are finished. And you have a good night, too. Thank you for being here. It was a wonderful stream because you showed up. And the rest of you, thanks for coming along. Thank you so much. Make sure that you have a good night. You take it easy. And you stay safe. See you next time.